All right, guys. So today we're going to go back down the nostalgic train, and we've kind of fallen into this since covering the Moondrop old-fashioned headphones, which again is a pair of headphones that resemble the ones that used to come with Walkmans. Has like the flat foam ear pads, and a lot of people are interested in these. And so it's kind of put me down this rabbit hole of checking out some other ones, and it has led me to the pair that we're checking out today, which is the Koss Porta Pro wireless. Now, the Koss Porta Pros is a classic headphone. It's been around for over 40 years. So for Koss to make a wireless version of this just really made sense for a lot of reasons. And it is a pair that comes in at 99 bucks, which I will have all of this linked in the description. But the Porta Pros being a wireless pair of headphones makes sense because of how small and compact these headphones can get. But let's go ahead and kind of look at the design of these. Now, I have two different colors here. I have the black one and I have the beige. They also come in white. You can see that the ear pads that I have on the beige ones are red and blue, and that is because they offer oversized ear pads if you want to order them, which I do have for these. And then on the black pair, I just left the standard foam pads that were on it already, just so you can kind of see the comparison between the two. But if you look at them, you can also tell they just look completely different, and that is because one, the headband is expanded all the way out, and on the beige one it shows it in, and it shows that how portable these things can get, because they even fold down from there, they even hook together, they become so tiny that they fit in this like tiny case that they've included in these, just a little hard case. I mean, obviously this isn't pocketable, but this is not taking up the same amount of space as normal wireless headphones. Now, some other things about the design of these: it is using a double steel headband. It also has these pads on the side that go on the temple part of your head, and you can actually adjust on the side. They call it comfort zone, but you can adjust how firm and how light that you want them on the side of your head. Now, honestly, I don't notice a huge difference between switching on these, so it's not as effective on me, I guess. But you can see that the ear pads here are just, again, like the old Walkman type headphones. It's just that flat foam, and these are open back. They do have the vents on the outside, but these don't leak as much as normal open back headphones. But it is one, if you are going to blast them, do kind of keep that in mind, that if there are people around you, they're probably going to be able to hear a little bit of what you're listening to. So even though they are portable, it's not one that like I would want to use in bed next to my wife, because I do feel like she's going to hear a lot of it, and it may bother some people around you. Now, since these are wireless, obviously there are some controls on here which aren't on the original Porta Pros, but it is a simple 3-button control system. So one, which is your power button, is also a multifunction button for play and pause. And then you have your up and down for volume control and also for track control. So super simple. These do not work with an app, so there's not really a lot of features or anything that you can play around with, because it is what it is. It's a classic headphone that they have just made wireless. And technology wise, it is Bluetooth 5.2. There's no special Bluetooth codecs here either. It's AAC and SBC. Now, as far as what they do include in the box, it's pretty simple here. You get a USB-A to USB-C cable for charging, and then you do get a USB-C to 3.5mm plug-in if you do want to use them wired. It just puts it in pass-through mode. So it basically turns these into the original Porta Pros, and you can plug it into a laptop or a phone if you have a headphone jack there. So there is some versatility here for sure. They do not have the battery life as a lot of the other headphones or wireless headphones that we check out. And I think that's going to, again, kind of fall back to the size of these. It's not really like you can fit an extremely large battery into them, but on a full charge, you're still going to get 20 hours. So that in itself, I feel like is pretty impressive. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, I feel like the mics on these are pretty good. I think, most people will be completely fine using these for phone calls, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So here is a quick mic test outdoors using the Porta Pro wireless. It is definitely a windy day, and I can hear some birds, I can hear traffic, so this kind of will just give you a good idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, which honestly is surprisingly dynamic. It even has some warmth to the sound overall, which I did not expect. It also has some pretty good bass presence, which I didn't expect either. Now, this isn't going to be like skull candy type bass. This isn't going to rattle your head, but there was quite a bit of impact. I feel like it has some nice punch to it, and I feel like the tuning of these is actually pretty aggressive, and I kind of didn't expect this from a pair that, especially in my opinion, with the old Walkman headphones, they really kind of lacked when it came to that dynamic feel. And I don't feel like the Porta Pro wireless, falls into that category at all. It definitely has plenty of punch. There's some nice brightness to it, but again, some warmth, so it does kind of dull down the treble just a little bit. Now, the higher you turn up the volume, the treble does start to kind of peak up a little bit, but it doesn't get harsh. It's not like overly aggressive there. In the mids, I was completely happy with. Now, this was the part that I actually like the most because I've kind of gotten to where I like to enjoy a lot of different instruments and things that I listen to, and I like to be able to really hear vocalists a little more up front. And that is the sound signature that I feel like the Porta Pro wireless has. So it kind of fits exactly the sound signature that I like. The one thing I am going to say though is if you are a bass head, again, you might feel like these are lacking when it comes to bass. If you're somebody that just likes everything just all right there in your face, you might not feel like it does that either, because with the open back design that these have, there is a lot of things that give it openness. So it's not all as like upfront. It doesn't give you that like isolated feel. And I like this. It definitely has a pretty good sound imaging to it. Sounds pretty wide. And I never had any issue with being able to tell where sounds were coming from. So my overall opinion is this: if you're somebody that's like looking specifically for features, the battery life is not the best in here. Bluetooth 5.2 is now a little bit older, considering now we're into the 6.0s. And it doesn't have high-end Bluetooth codecs. There's nothing here. And then there's nothing really that you're going to be able to do about it. It doesn't work with an app, so you can't EQ them the way that Koss maybe wants you to EQ them. You get exactly what you get. It's very simple, which I think kind of fits the vibe of these. The way that it folds down and the portability that these have, I haven't seen any other over-the-ear or on-ear, whatever headphones that can match this. And I like the convenience of it. And I love the sound that these have. And I think for $100, it's an incredible buy. And I think a lot of people agree with that. I mean, they've sold a bunch of these. It is a very popular headphone. And I like the different styles that it has. And I do recommend the oversized cushions. I just like the fact that it covers more on my ear, and in my opinion it just feels a little bit more comfortable. But guys, that wraps up my video on the Koss Porta Pro wireless headphones. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos, and as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.